Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cropper here. Dark matter is bunk. Some of us know it, and more of us know it every day. Now, dark matter, just for those of you who have heard of it but don't know exactly what it was proposed in order to explain the rotation speed of galaxies, because the outer edge of galaxies rotates too quickly for the amount of mass in galaxies, and the stars should go flying off, and they don't. And the rotation speed should be similar to like our solar system blown up on a large scale, and it's not. Just not at all. It's very, very different from our solar system. So what is going on? The rotation of galaxies is not Newtonian. Now, if we just say that 85% of the mass of the galaxy is actually in an invisible, undetectable ring around the outer edge of the galaxy, then we can return to the Newtonian model, and it's all Newtonian. So dark matter is there in order to stop the galaxies from being whatever they actually are and turn them into Newtonian objects. And they're not. Something's going on large scales that's non-Newtonian. And dark matter is just a fudge to get around that. Now, it's like they're closing their eyes and covering their ears and saying, galaxy rotation is Newtonian. La 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 la. Can't hear you. It's Newtonian. And it's not. I've been saying it's bunk for 20 years now, and major physicists are starting to come on board. I have in mind Sabine Hossenfelder. She is aware that dark matter is bunk. And she has done a video in the past about string theory being bunk, so she's one of the good guys. She did a video a year ago titled Webb Falsified DM Predictions, and No One Cares. Now, Webb is the James Webb Space Telescope, which, when they put it up, people had their predictions of what they were going to find at the far, far, far edge of the universe, because they can see all the way to the Big Bang. And there were predictions. The dark matter people had predictions. The modified Newtonian people had predictions, and those bared out pretty well, but their math wasn't impressive. But we'll talk about that in a second. But Sabine Hossenfelder goes over the math, and she offers these graphs where all of the information that the dark matter people predicted we would find and what we actually found don't match at all. It's funny how far off they were and how wrong they were, but they were really wrong, and nobody cares. None of their predictions are correct, and nobody cares. It's like, well, we really didn't think, that they were for sure going to be correct. We're just figuring stuff out as we go, and we're going to try to, now we're going to match our math to the stuff that we found, which is what they're doing. It's an ad hoc theory. It's not a theory at all. Now, the modified Newtonian gravity crowd had some success, but if you look close into their math, they assume that galaxies form, and then so in the very, very early universe there are galaxies, and then we move forward like that. And the question is, where do the galaxies come from, and how did they form, and why did they form so quick, and why are they so big so fast, is the question that physics is currently wrestling with. And modified Newtonian gravity just says, well, they're pretty big pretty early, and then we go from there. And dark matter says they will grow in such and such a way, and it predicts the way they would grow, which is totally, totally wrong. And nobody really cares, because they weren't married to the math anyway. They just worked out some damn math and said, well, this is what we think's going to happen, and they don't care. They didn't care. It's not a real theory, so they don't care. So they're going to stay with it, and they're going to just revise it according to what they find in reality. So don't get excited and think that the dark matter bunk is over. Some people don't realize it yet. And it might be years to come before they realize it. Becky Smethurst made a video 2 months ago titled How to Use the JWST as a Direct Detector of Dark Matter. You got that? A direct detector of dark matter. James Webb Space Telescope can detect it directly. So, we've gone all this time. It's undetectable. It doesn't interact with regular matter, blah, blah, blah. Well, now JWST can detect it directly. The problem is it's not there. It's never been there. It's never going to be there. It wasn't there in the early universe. Their maths of the early universe are whack. Totally, totally wrong. 100% wrong. It's not like they were off by 30% or 90%. All right. So, Becky Smethurst hasn't gotten the memo. A lot of people haven't gotten the memo, but it's bunk. And some of you, I suspect, there's at least one person out there, probably a Canadian, who's upset about this. And you're like, dark matter's not false. Well, look, if you're upset that it's false, because it is, just realize this. The rotation speed of galaxies does have an explanation. And if we can dethrone dark matter, maybe we can actually work on some theories that have to do something with reality that talk about the rotation speed of galaxies and why they might be doing what they're doing. So it's very interesting that galaxies rotate the way they do, and why would they do that, and why don't they spin and fly apart? And another interesting thing I'll mention real quick is that black holes are too large. And if you go early in the universe, they're not too large. They've gotten larger and larger too large at an accelerating rate. They're bigger than the amount of matter that could have fallen into them over the history of the universe. So something's going on there. But anyways, that's for another video. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Dark matter is bunk. And Sabine Hossenfelder realizes it. She's major. She knows that string theory's bunk too, so she's a good guy. So we're not too excited, Brian Greene's against string theory now. He realizes it's bunk and says you should have a second career if string theory's your thing. So people are coming around, but dark matter, man, it did not come through. It did not impress anybody. And of course, there's a lot of the crowd that just doesn't care. But, those of us who want a serious theory and some serious maths are just laughing at dark matter again, as we have been.